This week's Arts Alive, the blog with me, Trafford Parsons, talking about contemporary art, is going to delve into ideas of the Situationists and how their ideas changed the way in which we look at art and changed art itself. So we will be looking at how the Situationists affected, or their ethos affected, Banksy, affected music, affected events, affected the lifestyle of artists, galleries, and the whole way in which we look at art. Now, I'm going to start with a quote from an essay that I did a long time ago. I went to art school. Well, I don't know why I call it art school. I went to Goldsmiths and studied art, and I suppose people call that art school, don't they? So this is the quote from the Situationists, or about the Situationists, just so that we get the idea. The Situationist International Manifesto, issued in 1960 by Guy Debord, calls for a radical transformation of society through the critique of modern capitalism's commodification of everyday life. It's a bit of a mouthful. It advocates for the creation of situations, that's in like quote marks, that disrupt the status quo, aiming to liberate human creativity from the constraints of consumer culture. So if you followed this, it's an idea that artists, situationists, should disrupt what's going on so that we think about it, so that we aren't just drones, just a commodity, just people who earn money and then are sold things and have a very strict tram lines that we go along. And that idea of a new society being one where people think, people are energized by art, people are changed by what they see and by artists. Now, in my essay, I go on to say the connection between I go on to say English punk rock emerged in the mid-70s, and it embodies the idea of rejecting mainstream social norms and embracing the DIY, which stands for do-it-yourself, ethic that undermines commercial music industries. Bands like the Sex Pistols, Malcolm McLaren, who was influenced by the Situationists, used music and visual art as a form of protest against the establishment. The provocative, often confrontational style of punk, along with the emphasis on spontaneity and raw expression, echoes the Situationist call for creating disruptive situations that expose the artificial nature of modern life and promote authentic experiences. Now you can see that. You can see that within punk rock. So it's a theory, or a punk rock is, in essence, I go on to write, a theoretical critique of the Situationist International into a cultural and musical revolution that resonates with the youth of the time, fostering a spirit of defiance and social change. And that's what it was. I was only young, and I went to punk bands and saw them and jumped around a lot and wore ripped up clothes, made my own clothes, did all those, but me and loads of other people. I'm nothing special. But it made me the artist that I am today, and it is that spirit is behind so much art and so much music and so many things that have happened and are happening. So you can see the way in which the Hacienda in Manchester, the rave scene in London with those DIY raves, and Hume was in Hume was the first rave in London. It wasn't the first rave in Britain, but it was the first rave in London, and that was at a gym. I was speaking to Danny Ramplin about this a couple of years ago because I did a painting. But interesting man. A bit marmitey, but then aren't we all? But it's the idea that you shouldn't just go along like a sheep. You should make something happen yourself. You should rebel against the tram lines and do something interesting. Now that's what Banksy has done. It's classic situationalism, isn't it? he's disrupted the commercial market for art. Street artists have disrupted the gallery system that says artists have an agent, have a gallery system, have paintings, they have these artifacts, and then people buy into a lifestyle, which is actually quite boring and banal, isn't it? So what we've been able to do and see over the last 40 to 60 years is a change in that, a change in the established views of art into disrupting established views and having a chance to think and to change the world, and by small things and by big things. And it's still going on. It's happening today, the way in which people will see a piece of street art by Banksy and want to commodify it. That is the conundrum. That is the question. So how do we answer that question? Well, we've got to start a bigger debate. We've got to start talking about what art is and what it means. Hopefully, that's what I'm doing here today, and I will continue doing that. And let's continue talking and thinking, and I'll add my bits about it and some bits about my life. I only add those bits just so that you get a choice as to whether you think what I'm saying is good or based on actually experience, or whether it's not good and you want to change what I'm saying or think in a different direction, or you think I've got it completely wrong. Which is still a good thing. I've been having a week of being very frustrated with people around me and the way in which they accept the fact that a computer program will work in a certain way. And I think you've got to say, no, the program works for us, we don't work for it. So let's make it work for us. And to make it work for me, my friends, please follow my channel, like, or don't do any of those things. Don't subscribe. Do what you want to do, and I will continue to promote contemporary art and thoughts about contemporary art. That's art that's going on today in my future broadcasts. And let's just keep on keeping on. I need an end phrase for these kind of things, a bit like "buy my art." I do a talk about situationists and finish with "buy my art." That is incongruous. Just get into art because it changes the world. Bye for now. Oh, someone wants me.